I never thought such a thing could be my business, could be me in any picture, you know. In fact, when she took me to that private office, she brought out a photo, a printout photo from the computer. So, this is a story about how and why I failed a job interview recently. That was last month. I was heartbroken, but now I'm laughing, because God always goes ahead of us in everything. Yes. And I appreciate Him now. I am really thankful now because, anyway, let's start this story. You know, I was already preparing myself on how I'll be starting this job in a place that is close to my house. I walked to the interview place, having been working in the education setting since January. You know, I found a job opportunity that is exactly what I've been looking for, cover supervisor job role somewhere next to my house, and it fits perfectly well to my family lifestyle. You know, secondary schools here, most of them they close school at 3 o'clock, but this very one here it closes at half two. That's 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon. My little boys' school they close at 3, though sometimes they let them out at 3:15, 3:10. So I was like, this is a fantastic opportunity for me. If there is anything I hate so much is having to complete a job application, because filling up an application form in the UK, like I've always said, is like writing a term paper. It's a whole lot of work. And guess what? In this very job application, I was told not to add my CV. They don't want you to put your CV. You have to fill everything from beginning to end. You have to provide your work experience in the last 10 years. You know what that means? Each year you complete it. You know, so it was just somewhere around me here where I would wake up in the morning. The school starts 8:15, 8:30. Because I would tell them I would wake up in the morning, drive my boy, or even take my boy to his school, breakfast club, as the case may be, and go back to the school. If I had been if I was given an opportunity to work in that school, I'd already visualized myself working there, planning, buying some corporate koi. Though before ever I started my first job role, I was buying those things. But on this before this interview, I was coming back from work. One of the days I had to go in the shop, buy a corporate shirt that I used to go for the interview. I was praying, believing God that this job is mine. That kind of a thing. Oh my God, my hope. I thought I had high expectation that I must definitely get that job position. On the D-Day, what happened? I dressed up, light makeup, wore my shirts, corporate trouser, and catwalk to the school. I was there around 5 minutes past 8, and the interview was to start 8:15. This is the normal time. This is the normal time secondary schools, they resume here, especially for teachers. 8:15, you're already logging in, even though you're not starting to teach at 8:15. First lesson is just 9:15, but you should have been there earlier on, settle down, know what you are doing for the day. I was there. On getting to the reception, I met two Nigerians. And a Ghanaian. So in all, we were just two males and two females. So we sat down there. Me, I started a conversation. Trust me now. I'm a free-spirited person. I asked the lady, she didn't have a previous background in education in our country. She is or was then as a student, because she told me she'll be finishing in May. And she told me she used to go to school to volunteer. Like I said in my previous video, let's not mention that, once in a week. That was just the only experience she had. And she wants to switch. She's studying something, or she studied, because it's not studied. She finished last month, data management. I said, okay, that's fine. The other young man, Nigerian, I didn't really ask him because he was looking so mean and eager to get that job just like me. Unfortunately, now two of us lose. Now two of us don't get the job. So over to the first stage of the interview was a kind of a roundtable chat, with the school panel. We sat down, we chat, blah blah blah, and then the next stage was to go into the classrooms and teach. The subjects we were asked to teach was mathematics, maths. So I walked into the classroom. I think it was year seven. Mhm. Our JSS2. I walked into the classroom with my supervisor who is monitoring what I am doing. The class teacher was there, the students. I introduced myself, I started and all them stuff. So after that, we went over to the next stage. All of us retired to the waiting room. The panel, they met together, they had a chat. They called one of us, the other gentleman from Nigeria. Before you know it, they dismissed that guy. We knew that, oh my God, this guy, he didn't make it, he left. The next thing they called me, Francisca, can you come in? I went to the panel. Instead of me sitting with the panel, one of the ladies took me to a different room, different office. This is something I never expected, something I wasn't thinking that it could ever come up. I never thought such a thing could be my business, could be me in any picture, you know. In fact, when she took me to that private office, she brought out a photo, a printout photo from the computer, and she said to me that there is a procedure in the school that before they employ anybody, they usually carry out an identity check. And they carried out this identity check and they found this lady whose identity matches with mine. The lady's name is Francisca. Sorry, the lady's name is Chinyere Anuforo, you know, and she's a known sex worker in Nigeria. I say, me, sex worker, I never even do one man finish. I am not even able to, give my man enough. Talk more of where is the strength when I want to kill me. Even as I did now that I am married, it's nearly 1 month I never do. Talk more of being a sex worker. This is crazy, you know. So the lady was really serious. I think it was the deputy head teacher. You know, I started telling her my story the time I was in the UK because she said the lady was prosecuted in 2020, 2013 in Lagos, Nigeria, 2013. And from information I provided to them, I was in Lagos in 2013, and the time I was in Lagos matches the time this lady was prosecuted, the same name, Chinyere Anuforo. I said to them, well, I was in Lagos. I came back. I was in the UK for 3 years, 2010 to 2013. And I came down to Lagos in October. And that lady, I will put the thing here, the newspaper page here. The lady was prosecuted in July 2013. And I returned to Lagos in October 26th, 2013. And I got married. I got engaged the same year, got married the next year. And the lady in question, the so-called Chinyere, the sex worker, not me, she had 3 children previously from her marriage and she divorced and blah blah blah, started doing that before the prosecution and all what have you. I told them it wasn't me. Look at what, after I spent so years in Nigeria, I joined my husband in Saudi Arabia. From there we came back to she asked, how did I meet my husband? I told her how I met my husband. She was trying to see, maybe I don't even know why she asked that question, but I told the truth how I met my husband. I don't feel prostitute. My brothers and sisters listening to me, this was how I was dismissed. How does that sound to you? So I came home, I went on Google, I started reading more. I read and read. I said, but this lady doesn't even have, because I told them everything. One, I told the lady, look, I have about 3 DBS from the UK already. She said DBS does not dictate such things. I said, okay, I've got a police report from Nigeria, my country. I've got a police report from Saudi Arabia. She said that these things do not dictate such things. I don't know what she meant by that. I just looked at her in the face. I said, okay, that's fine. I walked away. Yes, The letter told me they are afraid. Once they tell you that they are afraid, when they call me to the panel, that I didn't make it to the interview, I said, okay, that's fine. When I told somebody told me that that's racism, but I don't want to think it's racism. No, I do not want to think it's racism. No way. But that didn't go well with me. I was sad. I was broken because I had already seen myself doing that job, managing my family, having a full time job, running my family, looking after my little one. And it's just around the corner. And it happened. Though one of the teachers, especially the one that supervised me, was like, "Hey, we are really sorry you didn't make it. Sometimes it's not always easy teaching subject that you are not familiar with. Mash." I said, "That's fine." I left. But currently, to be honest with you, I am thankful because if I had made it to that job, you know what would have happened? By now, I would have been writing them to tell them, please, can they cancel that appointment? Because that job, I was meant to resume that job in September if I had passed that interview. Though I don't know if they would have asked me to resume the job soon after this summer. Was that May holiday? Yes, because from that May holiday, school still has like 2 months. They might have asked me to resume. But even at that, I would have been asking them, sorry, can I resign after July? Because by September, I wouldn't be available for any full time job again. It just came up to us just last week. So this is why I was laughing all through. Sometimes man proposes, but God disposes. I was sad at first. My husband tried to console me, my friends, because I am open. I tell people, Oyibo would fail exam, they will tell you that they fail. They are writing carnivals, but we are not like that. So this was exactly what happened. And they needed two people for that job role, you know, and there were just four of us that went for that interview. So that lady, the Nigerian girl that had no previous background in education in Nigeria, apart from the voluntary work she did here once in a week. So this is why I said, even if you do not have a teaching background, you can volunteer. Though some agencies would bypass that and get you started, like the man I met at the secondary school, the dependent with family. He told me, no previous education background from Adam or Eve. But the agency, you know, bypassed that and allowed him to work in the secondary school as a teaching, as a cover supervisor. So you can always do it. Yes. So guys, this is my story on how I failed job interview, my first full-time job that I applied for in education setting, why I failed it. It was one of them because of the identity check, and probably I did not do well in the interview, especially in the classroom. Yes, let's not put that aside. Probably they did not fancy my performance in the class. The man said I was really, really outspoken and carrying the class along. But then he further stated that it is usually hard when one is not familiar with the subject you are teaching, you are asked to teach, which is maths. I wasn't that familiar. I do not know much of a maths, but LCM, HCM is simple mathematics that anybody should know. They did not even expect you to know that because the job position I applied for was a cover supervisor's job role. You are not there to teach, but to present a prepared lesson or lessons by the class teachers, and also um, contact agencies to provide supply teachers when these are lacking in the schools. So they were not even expecting me to teach. So the major factor there should be the identity check. They told me that they might contact me again, but I'm not going again. But all these agencies I am working with currently, should they send me to that school, I would be happy to go. Yes, I wouldn't say no because I like their closing time, which is 2:30 in the afternoon. I can still go there and it's just around the corner and still do my school run, grab my boy and go home. This is what I've been looking for, flexibility, working around my family, you know. So I am no longer sad. In fact, I felt terrible for about 1 week, to be honest with you. But now, sometimes things happen like that because God knows that, yeah, this is not for you. Yes. Now I would have been writing them to say, please, can I resign or come as a part-time cover supervision? Well, guys, this is it for this very content. Thank you for giving me a listening ear. I sincerely appreciate you constantly supporting me on this channel. Thank you and see you again.